for another LightEdge live and interactive webinar. Today's topic is an exciting one. We're going to focus specifically on how the combination of LightEdge and Connectria will provide unmatched value for both of our respective clients. So as we get started, one reminder is please feel free to drop questions in the chat as we're going. Anything that you want asked to the group. We'd like to make this as interactive and conversational as possible as we're moving through the presentation. So let's start with introductions for who we have here today on the panel. We have Sean Kitts, our Vice President of Client Experience on the LightEdge side. Sean has been with the business for just over 8 years and has spent the majority of his time here as an executive sales leader over the installed base and account management team, focusing specifically on customer experience. My name's Sean Stenger. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer. I've been with LightEdge for just over 9 years, focusing on all things direct sales and go-to-market strategies. And from the Connectria team, Ryan Pellerin, the Chief Commercial Officer, who has an extensive background in executive leadership, entrepreneurship, public cloud, and all things managed services and professional services. So we're very excited with this panel today to walk you through the acquisition and combination of LightEdge and Connectria. So what's happening? Officially on April 23rd, LightEdge acquired Connectria. Many of you probably heard or had some communication prior to that date that the principle of the acquisition was underway. For those of you who haven't heard yet, but LightEdge and Connectria had conversations going for many months from a due diligence standpoint, getting to learn many things about each other and make sure that there was good cultural alignment between the businesses as well. So on April 23rd, that acquisition became official. For those of you who don't know who LightEdge is a secure cloud and colocation provider based in Des Moines, Iowa, with extensive experience in the Midwest. Connectria, for those of you who don't know who Connectria is a multi-cloud infrastructure managed service provider based in St. Louis. Both organizations have decades of experience in the space and very specific specialization in things like IBM cloud services, VMware-based cloud services, security, compliance, and now the combination of the companies with a multi-cloud, hybrid cloud capability. So the combined companies have a pretty extensive footprint at this point, operating 18 data centers across 12 U.S. cities. And the combination of the companies have more than 1,700 customers. So those data centers, and we'll dig in a little bit more into the details as we go through, but those data centers span east and west throughout the Midwest as well, adjacent to public cloud infrastructure providers, and can also LightEdge operates and owns many of the data centers in our portfolio. So as we look at combining the companies and those combined services, we are merging the two companies to become one of, if not the leading, secure and compliant infrastructure provider, being able to provide hosting platforms for nearly any workload, and then provide a full stack of managed services for those different workloads, both in a hybrid, multi-cloud, or co-location and private cloud perspective. Also, the companies bring really complementary strengths. So the combination of the companies is, very complementary in a number of ways. Connectria has developed a very deep experience in both IBM and public cloud, specifically AWS and Microsoft Azure. And LightEdge has significant strengths in co-location, enterprise, private cloud, connectivity, and both businesses are up-leveling security and compliance capabilities as well. So let's kick off the conversation. So we'll turn first to you, Sean Kitts, the other Sean, to give us an update on the Better Together story for combining the businesses.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. Both the organizations are pretty similar when you look at the history and the DNA of the company. Both have been in business for 30 years. Roughly 30 years. Has a very strong client base with deep relationships. After getting to know being around LightEdge for a minute and getting to know the Connectria team, the most important thing gets down to the people and to the culture. Both organizations have really just a strong, passionate, employee base who believes that we're here for the success of our clients. And that shared vision around purpose has been true, and it's been really, really something cool to see and to watch every day. Just getting to know the team and also getting to know the clients at the combined organizations. The great part too, with the kind of the depth, of the combined organizations, the pace of innovation that we'll be able to deliver to our clients, I think will be a big benefit. So as we bolster down our both the engineering, the product team, the architects, clients will see that and feel that, and I think we're excited to hit the ground running on both sides.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for that overview, Sean. So a couple things from a interactive question standpoint. So to clarify, yes, the chat is off. So if you have questions, use the specific Q&A module down there to get your questions in. So as we move to the next slide, there's a good overview here. Brian, we would love to learn a little bit more about the combined value propositions and those capabilities. So why don't you give an overview for the group on how these shared value propositions are going to positively affect our customers?
Absolutely. Thanks, Sean, and good morning, everyone. We all know, even at former Connectria and LightEdge, that one size doesn't fit all for our clients. The combined organization brings true hybrid capabilities, and a lot of companies say that they have hybrid, but it's limited to maybe a few things, like a colo or private VMware, or maybe one public cloud provider. As a combined organization, LightEdge now offers solutions to meet our clients, with solutions that fit their needs. It can be very unique. For example, there are customers that may need to colo some equipment, also leverage private cloud, Azure, AWS, and also have some form of VMware private cloud. LightEdge can provide solutions that cover everything from colo, bare metal, IBM, AIX to public cloud. So I look at the product sets that we're bringing together as a true leaping point for organizations that are looking to modernize and combine all of their assets with one organization, and whether they need them to be delivered in an IaaS fashion or fully managed, we can provide solutions through your entire stack that fit each specific workload. And we do all of this with second to none security. So every offering that we have has been developed with high compliance and security in mind. We maintain and are audited for over a dozen security frameworks annually, and continue to evaluate additional frameworks to add to that list. What's not on this slide, but important to note, is that we also bring forth an advisory, consulting, and professional services practice that ties all of this together, so we can enable migration and public cloud adoption and transformation, and development services to tie all of these solutions together. To my knowledge, we are the only firm that can provide this depth and breadth of solutions to the marketplace without leveraging a partner. Very exciting.
Yeah, and Ryan, that's a great point, and perfect segue to a question that we got in the chat a minute ago, which was that LightEdge previously sold off their consulting practice a couple of years ago. Now with the combination of Connectria are getting back into it, what changed? It's a great question.
I can take a stab at that. I founded a company called WSM International in 2003, which was a professional services company that specialized in cloud adoption, DevOps implementation, advisory consulting, and development services. Connectria acquired that firm in 2019, and that now becomes part of the combined organization. So we have end-to-end professional services, including DBA services, that our clients leverage in addition to their managed services, and you can leverage that on demand or in a retainer-based fashion, and it's extremely popular.
Yep, absolutely. I will say that from the LightEdge perspective, I'm doing professional services at scale, and doing it beyond the reach of core services was something that wasn't strategically aligned 4 or 5 years ago. But Brian's organization and background in the space is impressive and demonstrated success at scale. And the LightEdge team is very excited about being able to add those capabilities for our clients. And we'll have some more details on some of the specifics of those practice areas and disciplines here in a minute. But so, Brian, for the next slide, I know that there's quite a bit of excitement within the LightEdge customer base with regards to specifically the public cloud capabilities, as well as the maturity and depth of the IBM practice area. How about an overview of some of your background in public cloud and AWS, and how you grew those lines of business during your time at Connectria?
Sure. So we became a premier AWS partner a couple of years back. It's worth noting that that is a very difficult thing to attain. There are probably 150,000 AWS partners worldwide, and less than 150 are premier AWS partners. We're also an Azure Gold partner. We provide managed services in both of those public cloud platforms. I would say that the AWS side, we tend to see a lot more funding as a premier partner than on Azure, but we can provide funding for both through those public cloud providers. And we're known for providing very high compliant managed services in public cloud. So a lot of healthcare companies, financial services firms trust us to manage their public cloud workloads, help them migrate to public cloud, and to maintain a high security posture in public cloud. We are known also for our hybrid IBM on-net capabilities with public cloud providers. So we enable a lot of our customers to migrate from their data centers, and those of you that have IBM workloads know that they don't travel alone. They have x86 attached to them, and they require low latency. So Connectria is one of very few providers worldwide, and the only provider worldwide that enables true hybrid public cloud connectivity to IBM. And I mean not just AWS and Azure, but also GCP and OCI, and Alibaba and APAC. We have end-to-end professional services to help you if you're interested in migrating to public cloud. That includes doing TCO analysis on what the target architecture might look like and the cost might end up being. We can provide application rationalization exercises to help you determine which workloads are best suited for public cloud or colo or private VMware or bare metal or all the above. As you're adopting public cloud, it's not just generally a lift and shift, or you won't normally get the value out of the move to public cloud. We look at it as a true transformation. How do we adopt public cloud native services like microservices, containers where they make sense? Do you have a need to start to think about Gen AI capabilities? We can help you with that path and truly transform your workloads as we migrate to public cloud. We are also known, as I said, for high compliance in public cloud. We just achieved our MSSP competency with AWS, one of very few providers that maintain that. We continue to carry a bench of highly certified AWS and Azure engineers, over 70 certifications and accreditations. And we tie all of this together with our observability platform called TRIA, so that you have full visibility into your environment, whether it be private VMware, IBM AIX, or public cloud in a single pane of glass. So lots of cloud capabilities. We have been a cloud-first organization, and that we want to provide options to meet, again, our clients' needs as they determine the best path toward modernization.
Yeah, that's a great overview, Ryan. I think, as we know, our goal with combining the businesses is to be able to provide the right hosting platform for the right workloads at the right time, and be able to provide the advisory services and professional services to help our clients move those workloads across that continuum as they go through that roadmap of modernization. So I know, Sean, maybe you have some additional thoughts on this slide in terms of how these combined and added capabilities can positively benefit the LightEdge customer cohort.
Yeah, definitely. I think it kind of goes back to the question, Sean and Ryan, that you both answered on what's changed and why now. We've always been very focused on, I would say, the experience of the client, making sure it's simple things, right? It's up, it's available, it works, it performs well. Most importantly, it's secure. But the other thing that we've invested heavily on the backside, or the back office, is around that, what we call that seamless experience for clients, so that frictionless experience. So, we've invested heavily into, again, the back office with things like ServiceNow. The combined care org for clients is very robust. We can get to clients quickly and swiftly and get answers to questions, proactively reach out to clients in the combined orgs with notification. So as we've grown, we always think about scale first. So we always have our, kind of our platform in place to scale. And now with the combined, orgs and the concept of figuring out which workload makes sense to live where, we're very confident with how we've invested on the back end that we can deliver that experience seamlessly across platforms, and just at the end of the day, just make it easy for clients to run their business and scale as they need to.
Yep, and we'll definitely spend a bit more time opening up those topics around flexibility that LightEdge is known for. But a couple questions, good questions again from the chat. One talking about brand. Can we talk about branding? And our chief marketing officer certainly has a pretty thorough branding strategy and roadmap. What we can tell you is that in the near term, we're not making any significant shifts to the branding. Connectria will be known as a LightEdge company, and then as we work through the complexities of brand management, the intent is to become a combined LightEdge organization. Other question from the chat was, are we maintaining our current sales contact? And the answer there, is yes. So there's I would caveat that answer by saying you'll have your sales contact, plus you'll probably have some additional contacts depending on which organization you're a customer of. We plan to leverage both the sales contact and the customer experience, client experience, CSM type contact across that structure and communication cadence across both sides. So yes, you will have your sales contact. Yes, you will have your CX, client experience, or CSM, and you'll have additional contact from executive leadership as well. But no changes from a standpoint of who your assigned rep will be. So, Sean, I know in the next slide you touched on it a little bit, but the combined capabilities and the ability to also advise with professional and external managed services, definitely provide some additional benefits besides just taking those services. So maybe provide your thoughts here to the group on what those additional benefits are as we've combined businesses.
Yeah, definitely. So if you think about it, there's an idea of right now where we can, you can move your workload to whatever platform makes sense, but also have the ability to put it in any geography you need to, right? So here in the US, we've got 12 markets, 18 facilities. Ryan here will hit a little bit maybe on our international capabilities, but when you think about putting the workload close to whether it's end users or internal users, if you're an enterprise organization that has employees across the country, we can do that. If you think about it from a client base, if your customers are heavily on maybe the East Coast or West Coast, we can now facilitate that experience with low latency, across the country. So when you think about the physical footprint, there's obviously a very tangible benefit to clients. We bring that network story, that network DNA to that national footprint as well. So when you think about things like disaster recovery and offsite backups, data protection, we can now deliver that experience from East Coast to Midwest to West Coast, depending on what the use case or business requirement is. And with Connectria, that opens up the gateway right to the public clouds as well. When you think about zones and latency for users or clients. So here in the US, obviously that footprint is vast. But Ryan, I think it would be great, for the audience to hear too, what our international capabilities are and what Connectria brings to the table from that perspective.
Absolutely. Thanks, Sean. So we work with a lot of multinational corporations that have geographic requirements outside of the US. We have a data center already in Amsterdam that many of our clients leverage for their EMEA operations. And we are standing up 2 data centers in Singapore, which will be available in July of this year, really due to heavy demand out there for low latency to public cloud with IBM. So we are planning to accelerate the deployment of additional data center locations worldwide based on demand. Stay tuned for that. But as of today, availability in Asia Pacific through Singapore and in Europe in Amsterdam. And I'd anticipate that expanding. I don't want to give too much away, but very much so in the near term.
Yep. Thanks for that, Ryan. Yeah, and from a question in the chat, their capabilities for the European Union and specific countries there due to GDPR requirements. I know, Ryan, that's something that Connectria currently provides. Maybe any commentary you want to hit on just the international presence that you have?
Yeah, so we are looking at the European Union proper. We were considering the United Kingdom, but because of Brexit, that posed a challenge. We do have many customers that need us to maintain GDPR for them, and do that as a normal course of business for our customers in EMEA. So our next facility in Europe would be open in the European Union, not in the UK. I'll just add that we want to make sure that we have both prod and DR capabilities regionally and EMEA, and that's what we're working toward.
Yep. Yeah, I think the thesis there would be that the combined companies, the services portfolio will be available when we step into those international sites, the ability to provide those kind of core infrastructure and managed services. So thanks again for those questions. Keep them coming. We're certainly trying to jump on the Q&A as we get them and incorporate them best we can. So for the current slide, there's certainly some uniqueness to how I think these companies come together, and we've certainly alluded to it up to this point, but to be specific, the combination of these businesses provide the right, disparate services together with a full stack approach that, we find highly unique, and certainly provide the full scope of services that many organizations who are really trying to look for their primary cloud provider. From a LightEdge standpoint, for us, that foundation is highly secure co-location. In many cases, we own the facility. In other cases, we operate, the full mechanical and power aspects of the facility, and then deploy a highly secure private and enterprise cloud within those facilities. A lot of our background over the last probably 5 years has been focused very heavily on dedicated private cloud solutions, with the increasing maturity of a multi-cloud enterprise cloud solution. But one thing I think that we want to highlight that LightEdge has been known for over this time, with co-location and cloud services alike, is the willingness to customize solutions and provide unparalleled flexibility for our clients. To put it plainly, the ability to capture the flexibility of a public cloud down into a private cloud environment. So Ryan, from a Connectria standpoint, specifically, a lot of interest in the DBA expertise, but you mind kind of running through the background of the Connectria part of this slide?
Sure. As many of you on the call have experienced, I'm sure in the past, sometimes you'll have your hosting provider, managed services provider, colo provider tell you that you're having issues that are not related to the servers or the network, and they're related to your database or your application. Connectria enables our customers with DBA services that are on demand or on retainer-based plans to support Oracle, SQL, MySQL, and DB2, so that you can have extra technical hands on demand in the event that you're running into a database issue or need to perform an upgrade, or any number of things. And we have customized plans for many of our clients, and that way you kind of have that one throat to choke experience, where you can pivot over to the DBA team should the need arise. In addition to that, we have a significant development practice where we can troubleshoot application-related issues as they come up. So sometimes a code deployment doesn't go well. The combined organization now offers professional services and hands that can jump in to help troubleshoot those issues or upgrade your applications, and on demand. So our goal is to make sure that you have this end-to-end seamless experience, from whether it's just plain managed services, or you need to extend the reach out to some subject matter experts on our team to help with very specific things. You may not need full-time resources to manage some of these items, and that's where we want to come in and fill the gap.
Yep, very exciting capabilities for sure, Ryan. So, Sean, from your perspective, managing client relationships on the LightEdge side for many years, I think you speak with some authentic passion here about the combination of these businesses and what it provides to the client base. Give us your perspective here on the power of bringing these two organizations together.
Yeah, you bet. I think you can see it at the end of the day. It's pretty simple from Jim, our CEO, all the way down to the support and client care team. I think you can feel that you have someone on the other end of the phone that just genuinely cares, right? They just care for the success of our clients. They want our clients to win. So I think from that perspective, I'm excited because with the combined orgs, the strength of the client care team, again, the product team, the engineering team, et cetera, our clients will feel that, and that passion for the success of our clients is shared mutually. So I think that's that's something special to maybe celebrate as we're kind of combining the organizations. And on the next slide too, I think we'll see that from maybe a sales motion or a CSM or CX, we really believe that our relationships are forever. That it's not a series of linear transactions. And we mean that. Sean, you hit on the flexibility piece, and Ryan, you did a good job outlining our capabilities now to advise around workloads and platforms and where it makes sense. But we really put our kind of I guess our heart behind that kind of an approach, with just some simple things that LightEdge has been known for in flexibility, right? Sean, you mentioned it earlier, but if you need to move a workload to a new platform and you're on term, right, we allow for that reinvestment of spend and make it easy from a contract and fiscal perspective. In some cases, we're even able to write in flexibility, down the road, because we know that giving somebody the best price with term flexibility puts us both in the best spot for success for the future. And we are willing to do that. Again, kind of going back to, we believe that the relationships are forever, not just a series of transactions. So I'm more excited just because I think we really believe in that story, and the combined companies will deliver on it. And our clients will benefit from having the combined service offerings and the simple, I guess, approach towards flexibility to make it easy for them.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, John, I wouldn't mind adding to that. On the new acquisition side too, we'll often get creative if you've just recently made a CapEx investment to refresh hardware, or have a data center lease ending in within a year. We can often offset those expenses or buy your gear to help you move off-prem or out of your existing data centers sooner than later.
Yep, absolutely. So a couple good questions from the chat. We'll hit those now. We've got a couple of slides left, so if you have some burning questions, get them in there. First question from Laura around CMMC certification. And we have a very specific answer from our CIO who oversees compliance and security. From a CMMC standpoint, it is in the next audit cycle. The preparedness for CMMC attestation is in process and will be in the next audit cycle. So yes, when that framework will be made law, we will have the CMMC certification. We use, for those of you who are new to the LightEdge side, we use Shellman for that external audit process. We also have ISO 27701 for international privacy. Connectria will have that this year for this audit cycle. So yes, we're on plan. We'll have CMMC. With regards to some of those preparedness frameworks, where those things are in process and in the next audit cycle, we do have the we'll sit down and crosswalk any of the other frameworks with certifications that we already have. So if it's something from NIST or something from other certifications that we've got in place, we'll certainly help crosswalk those. But from an attestation of compliance for CMMC, that is planned to be completed in the next audit cycle. Paul had a good question with regards to the future of VMware hosting. So given the recent acquisition by Broadcom. So we hosted a webinar similar to this. You can find a link to that recording where we talked in depth about the changes from Broadcom. And certainly, long story short, LightEdge has established a kind of expert level with regards to managing the transition with VMware. So we were on the jump early. Once we knew that LightEdge had solidified its position in the partner program, and we worked quickly to, from an architecture standpoint on the LightEdge side, to mitigate cost increases for our clients. And we worked with clients individually to make some recommendations to mitigate minimize, and even sometimes completely eliminate any cost increases due to Broadcom's change. I will say that the combination of LightEdge and Connectria put our combined spend with VMware Broadcom certainly in one of the top providers, in the U.S. So we definitely have some influence when it comes to that relationship aspect of it. And I know that we're, from a Connectria standpoint, we've been working very closely with a number of customers on the Connectria side to work through the VMware licensing changes. And we have some specific recommendations and best practices for how to mitigate, minimize, or eliminate those cost increases. So I know, Paul, we'll be chatting soon with you specifically on how I think we got a good plan to minimize or eliminate any increases to you. So rolling through a couple other questions. With regards to communication about any changes in the support model, in terms of how you engage your Connectria customer team, don't expect any changes. How you communicate with CSMs, how you communicate with your resources. Near term, there are not changes. As we combine the businesses and we, I would say improve some of the back office capabilities, we may merge ticket systems as an example. There will be a very detailed communication that goes out saying what the changes will be, when they will be made. You'll get communication of those things far in advance. So for the Connectria customers, just so you know, over the last 5 years, LightEdge has made 3 to 4 acquisitions. So this is not integration is not a new process for us. And we've maintained very, very high customer retention rates, smart NPS scores, you name it. So we will communicate early and often. It will be very detailed. Even things like as a new ticket system rolls out, you will know in advance and how those things may change. So I think on the last slide here, Sean, there's maybe an opportunity to kind of put a bow on some of those topics and some of those things that were in the Q&A there with regards to communication, with regards to how we approach the client management of the client experience and what customers from both sides can expect, but especially the Connectria customers, what they can expect here in the near future. So give us your thoughts here in terms of how you will lead that practice.
Yeah, and I think there's been a couple of questions around communications and context. Again, just to reiterate, there's no intent or desire to change or disrupt, frankly, anything that's working. So we will not do that. The relationships will remain intact, and we will just bolster on, again, all the experiences that you've heard, whether it's services, actual employees and the depth of the team, et cetera. Those will just be additive. And we really do believe in having an open door policy. So if you do have questions or concerns, the chat's been great. We're excited to dive into those. Again, like just a specific example, when you look at the VMware, the things that LightEdge has done on our service delivery and our platforms and some of the automation and the toolings we have, we can look at disaster recovery differently for our clients, and specifically in some cases the Connectria client base, and we do that to never sacrifice experience. When you get down to what matters in terms of disaster recovery, but we can optimize that spend on DR, and if we can deliver and meet the business requirements and then reduce the licensing liability, we will do that, right? And we've done that in a couple of cases already, Sean, just in the past few weeks. And we're excited to have those combos. So again, just to reiterate it, we're always an open door. The chat's been great. I would encourage you to reach out to your current point of contact if you have any questions, and we will readily jump on any time to hit those head on.
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple last questions here from the chat. What's the standing with FedRAMP certification? So no no softballs today from the group, which is great. We appreciate the challenge. From a FedRAMP certification standpoint, LightEdge has extensive preparedness for the FedRAMP framework. The Joint Authority Authorization Board, or the JAB, who is the entity that grants the entry to that program. Our external auditor is one of those entities. We've done extensive preparedness for FedRAMP, down to cost to enter, as well as to maintain. From a LightEdge standpoint and the combination with Connectria, our plan is to basically achieve or attain that FedRAMP compliance when we have our first sponsor. So the first entity who wants to sponsor LightEdge as a part of that process, we are ready and willing, and have had very transparent conversations with a few prospective clients that we would even do that with no additional cost to the customer. So we're ready to go from a FedRAMP standpoint. Need that first sponsor, and have done all the work with a leading auditor, obviously in the process, to get through that FedRAMP certification and then maintain that provisional authority to operate. So that looks to be the questions from the Q&A. There's a couple there that it sounds like we'll reach out directly. Like Sean said, we believe in transparent communication, over communicating, and focusing on creating positive business outcomes for our customers. And that's resulted in, certainly industry leading retention and NPS scores. So if you have questions, reach out to your rep. If you can't get a hold of your rep, don't know who your rep or contact is, reach out to any of us. Any of us on this panel are willing and able to be on the phone with you ASAP to answer any questions or have any discussions that are needed. So we appreciate everybody joining. Big group here today. Lots of questions, good, engaging questions. We appreciate the attendance, and don't be a stranger. Please reach out. Let us know anything that we can do to provide updates, improve your experience, or jump in and create those positive outcomes. Okay, so a couple more questions, it looks like.
I was going to answer the one, Sean, about the 4-core limit. LightEdge Connectria can offer up to P30 class frames for IBM. So on the IBMI side, a 4-core limit isn't an issue if you need to scale beyond that. You just need to, you just need to reach out to your account manager at CSM, and they can help provide a quote to scale that out.
Okay. With regards to questions around any services that may be changing, near term, no. Services that are under contract, that's not the plan. What we will do midterm and long term is definitely communicate any changes to service offerings like virtual desktops. If the underlying technology to that were to change, those things may change in the future, but we'll certainly communicate those changes well in advance and have very open dialogues with you if that's a concern. Yes. So with regards to the Connectria data centers in St. Louis, the Walnut and Tucker facilities, I will tell you that our goal, nothing with the merger affects that process of closing the Walnut data center and migrating to the Tucker data center. I think we have had some conversations with clients that are impacted by that change, and there may be a little bit more time than what was originally communicated to get that move done. But we do not plan to accelerate it, and nothing about the merger is going to impact that move. But the logistics involved in that move may result in changes to that plan, or maybe lengthening the amount of time. What I would tell you is that on the LightEdge side, we've owned and operated multiple data centers for many years. So I will say that we are bringing our expertise to the table with regards to how to more seamlessly make that data center move happen for our customers without causing unnecessary disruption.
Yeah, and Sean, I think on that one too, we've had a couple great conversations just recently too, when you think through the combined capabilities. So if you haven't engaged with your CSM or your rep, please do. We're excited to hop on and one, either make that move seamless and easy, or two, to discuss what other options are available for you.
Okay. Well, I think that does it for the Q&A. So appreciate the time, everybody. Thanks for joining. Thanks for the questions. Very interactive. We appreciate it. We're looking forward to getting to know all of you at a deeper level and bring in some new combined capabilities and experiences to you via the merger. So thanks again. We appreciate it, and we'll see you all on a future webinar or in a conversation soon.
Thank you.